Welcome to episode number 140. This is our book club discussion about growth hacker marketing. So I'm Paula Williams.
I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help everybody out there in the aviation world sell more products and services.
Absolutely. To that end, we read a book a month because there's nothing more frightening than someone who has only read one book, right? That's a quote from somebody.
Yeah, so beware the man who's only read one book.
Exactly.
On any topic.
On any topic, especially if they've only read one book on every topic. But as far as aviation and marketing goes, we like to read a different book each month because it kind of gives us a more balanced view. And all of our members and clients and things like that get a more balanced view of the landscape in marketing, the latest technology, the latest thinking, and all those things. And growth hacker marketing, it may look familiar to you, it may sound familiar to you. There's been a lot of talk about growth hacking and what that is and what that isn't. And, in a lot of ways, it's a new name for some of the same old stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I like the book more than you did. What do you think? Is that true?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess we'll know how much more I like it.
Well, given our conversation just before we started this, I was talking about how, there were a few new ideas in it, and you were saying, there's nothing new.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's going to be worth your time to go through this, though, because we're going to talk about why growth hacking is so popular, regardless of this particular book, and, talk about some of the specifics of how you can use it in aviation marketing, right?
True.
Okay. Cool. So first let's talk about traditional marketing, and this is the kind of marketing that you learned in school and I learned in school, and basically they give you a case study that starts after the product has been developed and say, here's your product and here's $3 million. Go forth and sell the heck out of it.
Yeah, but before I got my business degree, I actually worked in an environment that did this in RTP, Research Triangle Park. Aviation Development Center. They would come to a group of us with a developed product and said, okay, explain to me how we can sell this.
Right.
And they would give us all the pieces and parts, and we'd scratch our head and put stuff together and do some experiments and figure things out and say, well, based on what we have, if you change this, this, and this, then we can probably sell it like this.
Exactly. And when I was working at Wells Fargo, it was a similar situation, very traditional marketing, but they were starting to come back to the point where they're saying, we really want to hear from our customers what they want, and they were adapting the products. So it wasn't quite the throw the products over the wall to the marketing people and let them go sell the heck out of it. But this is how it started, and that was this model, right?
Yeah, and what was interesting was on one of their larger products that they did that way, they actually had our team that told them how to sell it go out and sell it.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you did it right. And, this is the textbook way that marketing's been done since the beginning of time, right? So the marketer's job was to find the ideal customer for a product that already existed, to spin the perception of that product in some cases, and we'll talk about how they did that. A lot of these had really big budgets, and the theory was if you throw enough money at the marketing, you could sell anything. You could sell ice to Eskimos, was the saying, right?
That's what they said.
So one of the products that has been sold in a very traditional way is Coca-Cola. So you take the product, which has always been more or less the same thing. I guess there have been some changes to the recipe over time. There was the rumor that it had, in fact, I guess it's more than a rumor, that there were illegal substances in Coke at one time.
Oh, long before they were illegal.
Right, exactly. But the product itself hasn't changed all that much, but the way that it is sold, the spin on that product has been absolutely inspirational to see how well they can spin carbonated sugar water. And just from building this presentation and talking about it, I really want to go get a Coke. So it obviously works, right?
Well, it's a little more than carbonated sugar water, but I get your point.
Exactly. So they first started selling it for medicinal purposes, and this was when people's taste didn't really run to carbonation yet. I mean, people were used to drinking lemonade and used to drinking other things besides carbonated drinks. And it was sold for medicinal purposes, for headaches, exhaustion, nausea. I don't know what all it was sold for, but apparently it went really well. After a certain amount of time, they said, you know what, we can sell this because people are starting to enjoy the taste. And they started selling it for more of a lifestyle reason. You know, people would go get a Coke. That was a social function.
Even as a kid, I can remember going to a drugstore bar and paying a nickel for a Coke.
For a Coke. And it
Not
became,
in a bottle, but in a little cup
right.
of ice and Coke, yeah.
So, and that was kind of the date activity, was to go to the pop stand and get a Coke.
When I was a kid. That was later. But
Okay. There you go. But yeah, it became a social function as opposed to a medicinal function. Same product, right? Different spin. So that's pretty cool. Another thing about the traditional advertising is that it was typically not done by the people that developed the product. It was done by professional advertisers. So people like Don Draper and the Mad Men characters who would be given the product without a whole lot of background because they wanted them to have a pure view of the product. And they would sit around the boardroom, you know, drinking Cokes and thinking about brainstorming all the things, all the ways that they could possibly sell this. And the customer didn't see that and was not part of that process. This was all done behind closed doors, you know, at the 3 martini lunches and smoky bars and other kinds of things. And a lot of voodoo and weird stuff happened, at least in the people who were buying advertising's minds, because it had to be worth a lot of money. It had to be something they couldn't do themselves. It had to be polished. It had to be perfect and beautiful marketing. The interesting thing about that is people have developed a taste for professional images and, you know, all of that other wonderful stuff and slick magazines, and all of that came from advertising. So society owes a huge debt to the Mad Men, but it is not the only, and it is not the end-all and be-all of advertising anymore, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right, so that's traditional. Now let's talk about Growth Hacker, just to talk about how this is different. So basically, the premise is that you solve a problem for a specific group of people, and then you build marketing into the product and or its delivery so that the product development and the marketing are part of the same process, right?
True.
So you end up with what you call self-marketing products, like Dropbox is one of the examples that they use. Every time someone uses Dropbox, you have to create a free account in order to access a Dropbox document that somebody sends to you. Therefore, you become another Dropbox user, and then they can market to you and send you stuff saying, now you can upgrade your Dropbox membership and you can use this for all of these wonderful things.
Well, that's for a small product that works. We solved the problem for a group of people, and then we went out from Research Triangle Park and to customers who, prospective customers, that said, "Yeah, we'll try it." And IBM said, "Sure, we can let you try it for a while." Well, I headed up the team that went out on 2 or 3 of these, and we installed it and hooked it into their system, and had the C-level people come in for a briefing, and we had this thing on a 5x6 wall screen, and it was live. And in 2 of those cases, separately, the first one got us because it took us a bit to realize what was going on, but all the icons on the screen started flashing red. And the CEO said, "Well, I guess you got a problem yet in your development." And I looked around, looked at Mike, my buddy, and I said, "No, actually, sir, that's live data. You just had a major fiber cut." He said, "Really?" And he looked around at his techie and said, "I don't know anything about that." I said, "Call the shop." They did, and all of a sudden it got quiet, and the techie said, "Yeah, we have a problem." The CEO looked at me, he says, "We're done here. You sold it. See you later."
So the marketing was built into the product.
Exactly.
At least into your product demo, which is, I guess, the purpose of a product
demo. Well, and the demo, in that instance, we actually had to be hooked into their system as if we were going to leave it there.
Ah, nice.
And in that case, we did.
Yeah. Okay. Sold. Right. Sign on the bottom line. Tell me later how much it costs.
That's right. Exactly.
Best ending to a sales call. All right. So the premise here to make this work is that you have to have smaller niches in order to really make this effective, because you are solving a problem that is specific to a group of people. You're starting with customer research. In your case, obviously you were using their own data. Mm-hmm. So the more customized and the more personal you can make this marketing approach, the better it's going to work. Amazon does this by writing an internal press release announcing the finished product before they actually develop the product. And the reason is because as they go around the room talking about this press release, it's a whole heck of a lot easier to iterate on a press release than it is on a finished product, right? Cheaper and easier. So you might want to think about this as you are thinking about your products and services and how you want to modify them. And even if you have nothing but finished products and services, you can do this by simply adding levels of service to your product, adding training to your product, adding other things to your product that make it more palatable and more inclined to growth hacking, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Growth hacker marketed products. Evernote is one. That is a product that every user who shares Evernotes with other people end up being marketed to. Same thing with anything having to do with social media or anything like that. It's really designed to be marketed by its use. You cannot use it without essentially marketing it, right? Dropbox is another one. Bombas is, that's actually socks. And I love those socks. They're actually really cool. But for every pair of socks that someone buys, they donate socks to a homeless shelter, and that gives them more reasons to market and other kinds of things. So it's kind of a cool process there. So it's not just technology, it's not just small products and other things. Subaru does this really well. One of the things that they do in their social media is they talk about parking next to a Subaru. You will never get a door ding parking next to a Subaru, because only nice, responsible people drive Subarus. And that has become a thing. You'll find Subarus all parked together because these people all thing that's marketed to them. And their customers participate in this by doing it and by taking pictures and by talking about it. And it's just one of those cool things. Harleys do the same thing. You drive by a gas station, you're going to see a bunch of Harleys parked together. And that's just the way that Harley owners kind of associate. They have a Harley owners group that is a really neat marketing opportunity as well.
In fact, if you're driving a Harley, which we do from time to time.
And will tomorrow, too.
When you go down the road and you need gas, you look for a gas station that got Harleys in it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I mean, on the one hand, everybody thinks that because of Harleys, all the Harley guys think that because they're there, there's something good about this gas station. Mm-hmm. A, and then B, you got something to talk about with all these other people. Where are you going? What's going on? Mm-hmm. It's just Harley owners are that way.
Yeah, we once talked to a couple that was going the other direction on a Harley at a gas station. We talked to them for probably 20 minutes.
And actually started taking pictures of each other and sending back and forth.
And exchanged emails and everything else. Went into the gas station, and the folks in the gas station said, "Well, how long have you guys known each other?" And we're like, "About 5 minutes, or about 20 minutes, actually." Yeah. Well, where are y'all headed? Well, we're headed to home to Salt Lake. They're headed to New York.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And it's not just small products and things like that. Subarus are fairly large. Harleys are fairly large. There's a Mooney owners group that I understand has a really cult following, mm-hmm. And so on. So a lot of that's going on this week at AirVenture. If you're there, let us know. Drop a comment in our comments about the growth hacking that you're seeing at AirVenture, right?
Exactly.
I'm sure there's lots of examples there. Let's talk about NetJets. So you might think so far these are all kind of technology things or whatever. There are different levels of NetJets ownership. But some of the things that NetJets offers its customers to make the process more viral and to get their customers to associate with each other. They do a private reception at Art Basel, which is a really high-end art event. At the Masters Golf Tournaments, they have a Tour Pros dinner where they invite you to come have dinner with all the golf pros and do a Q&A. They have concerts during the Masters tournament when all of their customers are likely to be there. They have the Great Migration in Africa, which includes hot air balloon rides and a horseback safari. They offer their clients med-air 24/7 coverage, doctors and nurses on call for NetJets customers whenever they're traveling. Also, luxury accommodations at various resorts, preferential booking for NetJets customers. So NetJets customers are looking for convenience, they're looking for safety, they're looking for traveling with their families, traveling with their coworkers, they're looking for a high-end experience, they're looking for social connections. NetJets finds ways to manage all of that for them and to offer that in their product. Mm-hmm. So, you may think of your product as just jet rental, but it is not limited to that. No matter how small or how large you are, you can do this yourself or with partners. Come up with some solutions for people and make a more customized and a more growth hacking type of an experience for them, right?
In fact, if you're watching this, you should hit pause and sit back and reflect on how you can do that.
Exactly. So get out your pencil. We'll wait. If you hit pause, we'll wait.
That's right.
And then you can come back to us when you're ready. Okay. Rather than Mad Men, you've got this guy. This is Ryan Holiday. He wrote Growth Hacker Marketing, and he also wrote the book Trust Me, I'm Lying. And it's all about transparency, right? It is not about the 3 martini lunches and the dark rooms and the never talk to your customer until you have something perfect. It's all about collaboration, and it's all about transparency, and it's all about honesty, right? Seriously, if you get a reputation for trying to hide stuff, that is the fastest way to have a PR disaster these days.
Oh, no joke.
So separating your marketing from your company just adds a level of artificiality and a level of non-transparency that is not going to be attractive to your customers.
Separating your company from your marketing.
Yeah, so you throw things over the wall to the madmen. They create marketing that is not really tied in and not really authentic to your product or service, and you've got a problem.
Well, that's if you don't do QA on it.
Well, we think you have to be involved with the product from the beginning. That's why we insist on spending an hour with each of our customers every month, because it's a collaborative process. It's not an over-the-wall process anymore.
Nope.
If you just have them come up with something independent of you, it's not going to be authentic. It's not going to be real. Customers have a BS meter that's way off the charts these days. They can smell BS a mile away, right? The slick, shiny stuff just doesn't cut it anymore. It has to be authentic.
Authentic can be slick and shiny.
Authentic can be slick and shiny. It can be beautiful, but it has to be authentic above being
I'm not
deceptive.
arguing that point.
Okay, what are you arguing?
I'm not arguing at all.
You're just sounding argumentative for some reason. I'm thinking there's something more to this that you're wanting to say.
There you go, see?
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, all right. Carrying on. All right, so a little more detail about the growth hacking process, at least from the book. And this is actually kind of an interesting way of looking at it. So first you find your product market fit, and that is the key here. And if you have to go back and revise your product to do that, that is thing number one. So you don't try and sell something that can't be sold. That is just a losing battle. The days of Coca-Cola where you take a product and then you make people want it, you don't have time, budget, energy, or media for that anymore. It's just way too fragmented and way too expensive to do that sort of thing. So you start with a good product market fit for your small niche. And the smaller your marketing budget, the smaller the niche should be that you're trying to reach, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so product market fit, thing number one. 2, find your growth hack, and we're going to talk about this in more detail later, how to build the marketing into the product itself. Mm-hmm. Number 3, go viral, and we'll talk about some of the ways that you can do that. And 4, retention and optimization, right?
Yep.
Okay. So first, product market fit. spend a lot of time thinking about what problems, concerns, and affiliations do your customers have. So NetJets did this by thinking about when our customers travel, what are they most concerned about? They're concerned about their health care. They're concerned about having a great experience with their family. We want to offer them opportunities to have an exclusive event where they can talk to pro golfers because a lot of them are golfers. Now, we found out just recently by looking at our Facebook data that a lot of our folks really like Travis Tritt, the country star, right? And I had never put any kind of thought into Travis Tritt. I mean, he's not somebody that had crossed my mind. I kind of like his music, but, I had never thought about any kind of connection between our product and service and Travis Tritt, right? But if I look at our Facebook data and look at what else do our customers like besides us, Travis Tritt's right up there. So, I'm thinking maybe we need to have a country music festival or something at one of our events. And that is not something that I would have, and it, like I said, it's not always intuitive and it's not always something you would think of that's a natural result of your product. So, golf is not necessarily a natural result of NetJets, but they put that together.
Yep. And Honda does before they'll produce a product, but then they'll go out and give it to customers to use and say, how would you improve it? Right.
And actually, the focus group is not a new idea, but they'd usually do that with a prototype after they had kind of done a lot of development. Now we're talking about building this in sooner rather than later, and a much larger focus on customers. So what can you offer, either yourself or through partners, that can serve your customers better than your competitors do?
And boy, you need to figure that one out.
Exactly. And so this may not have anything to do with your product itself. It may have to do with the services that are offered in conjunction with it. It may have to do with training. It may have to do with bonuses that you provide when people buy your product, and other kinds of things. So one of the coolest ways to find this out is digging into the back end of your Facebook data in the Facebook Ads Manager. That's one of the things that we do with our customers in the digital marketing product, is to dig into that and provide a report that has some really surprising connections that you may never have thought of. So, all right, so that's product market fit. Now let's talk about growth hacks that you can use. One of them is to find a non-competing bigger brother in your niche that you want and create a deal for their customers. So PayPal did this. They took eBay and said, we want to offer a service to all eBay customers. They knew that these are folks who are selling stuff online, so that's exactly who they want to talk to. These are the folks that are not competing with them, and they can offer a service that is beneficial to eBay, beneficial to PayPal, right? Mm-hmm. And that was their first market, was just eBay sellers. And now it's everywhere. We use PayPal as our merchant account. Mm-hmm. So if you find a bigger brother, in this case, it may be one of the OEMs, one of the manufacturers, and say, we want to sell to everyone who has this type of aircraft. So you may be able to find a way to partner with the OEM or partner with somebody else that has a non-competing product that serves the same customers.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see, who else did that? GoGo did that with the airlines, the Wi-Fi people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of examples of this where they've done the marketing for you. The larger company or the older company has already done the marketing to collect all of those people in one place. All you have to do is offer something to their customers, right? Okay. You can also build associations with existing associations like AOPA, EAA. There's a lot of associations and owners groups and other folks in the aviation industry where they've already collected the people for you. All you have to do is find the right product market fit for that and present it through the association, right? Okay, so number 3, go viral. How do you go viral?
Mostly you don't.
It's kind of a happy accident when it happens.
Exactly.
What they're talking about in the book here is to create something that is deliberately simple and shareable, giving people exact instructions about what to do, like go park next to another Subaru and take a picture, and we'll put you into a drawing or something like that. Mm-hmm. Tell them exactly what to do. You can't be too simple here because people are busy and they're distracted, and any number of things is going to happen. You want to give them a real high success rate of being able to do what you ask them to do. And reward customers for sharing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just like Bomba's the sock people. They don't even reward their customers. They reward them with a warm, fuzzy feeling of knowing that a homeless shelter has just been donated 12 pairs of socks because I just bought 12 pairs of socks, right? So it doesn't have to be a direct reward, but you have to make them feel good about what they just did, right? Okay. So, and then fourth, retention and optimization. So you need to give people a reason to stick around. For us, it is our marketing lab. So even if someone, we create a brochure for someone, that's a one-time thing, but then they stick around with our customers, they start hanging around with them and they go, wow, there's a lot of other things that I can do to make this brochure 1,000 times more effective instead of just sticking it in my bottom drawer like my last brochures were. There's a lot of ways that I could use this brochure. So then they get better at networking opportunities, they get better at events, they get better at other things where they might use their brochure.
Well, the people in your lab are quite direct.
Yes, they are. They're wonderful people. And,
but that's good because they will not BS you with respect to when you ask a question about the quality or quantity or whatever. They'll lay it on the line and say, nah, don't do that, do this.
Exactly. They're really cool people, and they're all actually selling stuff in the aviation industry. So they're doing this for real, and they help each other out, which is wonderful. Social glue. So once again, using those networking events and introducing people to one another so that they have reasons to stick around. Great service, that kind of goes without saying. If you don't offer great service, it's pretty transparent as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can get something, a product, anywhere. The service is the only thing that differentiates.
Well, it also depends on the quality of the product.
Well, yeah, but still, service. Even if you got outstanding service and a so-so product, a lot of people will go for it instead of a high-quality product with no service.
That is true. That is absolutely true, especially if it solves their problem better. And then case studies and testimonials. So this is something that builds on itself. So as you make sales and provide that great service, you're going to have people who are thrilled. And those people who are thrilled are going to provide you with case studies and testimonials, and that is exactly the food that fuels this perpetual motion machine, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's growth hacker marketing in a nutshell. So to quickly sum up the differences, on one side we've got one column that says traditional marketing, you sell the product that exists, the advertising is super polished, the marketing is outsourced, they just throw money at it. The example is Coca-Cola. On the other side, we've got growth hacker marketing where you develop the product for the market instead of the other way around. Transparency is valued above polish. It is do-it-yourself marketing with help, where you're collaborating with people with marketing skills instead of just having them do it for you, so that it's transparent and you're hand in hand with their customer service and product development, so that that's all seamless. You're putting effort into it rather than throwing money at it. There will be some money involved. There's just no way to do anything in the world today without spending money.
Otherwise known as sweat equity.
Otherwise known as sweat equity. And you're spending money a lot more strategically because you're marketing to a smaller, more targeted audience. And the example that we used there was PayPal rather than Coca-Cola, right? Okay. So next month, we're going to be talking about nuts, which is the Southwest Airlines crazy recipe for business and personal success. And it's actually kind of a cool book. I've started reading it already. We're a little bit late doing this one because we had to do some other stuff because we wanted to have those videos produced for some stuff that our insiders are working on, their origin stories and their establishing shots and all those other things. So we needed to get those videos out. By the way, if you have not seen the last 3 videos on branding, they're all using this growth hacker strategy before we even realized that it went in conjunction with the book. So we talked about how to tell a story. That's all very authentic and it's something that you have to do yourself. And we can help you do that. But the stories have to come from you, right? And we talked about graphics and authentic behind-the-scenes shots, your place of business and other kinds of things that are really transparent and authentic. And we talked about the 5 stories that every aviation brand must tell. And once again, that stuff that is really authentic and very growth hacker oriented, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so next month we're going to talk about nuts.
Hopefully not go nuts, but talk about
Hopefully not go nuts, exactly. So we look forward to joining you then. If you would like to talk about whether your product or service can be adapted to this, or if you're in the process especially of developing a product or service and want to build in that growth hacker marketing strategy and want to make sure that you're following these principles, we'd be happy to talk with you about it. Just go ahead and click the Let's Talk button in the lower left-hand corner of our website, or call 702-987-1679 and set an appointment with us. Be happy to spend 30 minutes with you. We love talking about marketing, and we love talking about new products and services, so we would enjoy that. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great day.